These are the 5 things you need to know about the Pac-12's mess, according to the Los Angeles Times article written this morning by Brady McCollough. Welcome to episode 160 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash that like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. Let's not waste any more time. Brady McCollough, you all know how much I love Brady. I have a very warm place in my heart for him. If you don't know the story, check out Flag Empire Twitter account. Check out the pinned tweet. Let's go to the article. Here are the 5 things to know about the Pac-12's mess. We're going to put a link in the description box below the video. We're not going to go through the whole article. We're just going to hit some points on it. But please read the whole article. Here are the 5 things to know about the Pac-12's mess. Are USC and UCLA to blame? In the most literal terms, yes. One person I spoke with last week who's plugged into the media rights world thought the Pac-12 could have gotten a deal for $500 million if the Los Angeles schools were still around. Without USC and UCLA, it appears to be a struggle for Kliavkoff to negotiate an attractive package for the $300 million or so it would take to stay in the ballpark of the Big 12's deal. With the Trojans and Bruins in tow, the Pac-12 deal could have placed the league in an easy third behind the Big Ten and the SEC. But here's the thing. USC in particular was not feeling like letting its massive football brand be used to dole out charity payments to the rest of the West Coast programs any longer. One of the most obvious takeaways from the Los Angeles crosstown rivals' bold move to the Big Ten is just how much only the big brands are going to matter going forward in college sports. That may not be collegial, but it's the new reality we talked about here at Peek Around the Corner, all the way back to episode 1 of this channel. Big brands are going to want to play big brands more often. The consolidation is on. This is the new world. Back to the article. Adding USC and UCLA made the Big Ten a rumored $250 million extra annually to be distributed among the other 14 schools. The Big Ten and the SEC are now so far ahead of the lesser 3 Power 5s that the excluded big football brands, other than Notre Dame, of course, are frothing at the mouth to get their due. And we believe at some point Notre Dame will going to be doing the same thing that USC did, that Texas did, that Oklahoma did. Back to the article. There's a reason Florida State Athletic Director Michael Alford told the university's Board of Trustees recently that something has to change in regard to the revenue gap between the Seminoles and their desired peers at the top of the sport. Florida State and Clemson could demand unequal revenue sharing from the Atlantic Coast Conference, but that's just a recipe for unanimous unhappiness. Absolutely, Brady knocks it out of the park once again. It could be argued Washington and Oregon are the most attractive available brands after Florida State and Clemson, but they've already been told no, at least at this time, by the Big Ten. That's accurate. We reported in July at Peek Around the Corner that the decision window for further Big Ten expansion, a go or no go for launch for further Big Ten expansion at this time was going to happen between August 15th and October 15th. That decision was made. It was a no-go for launch at this time. But has the math changed on it? We'll get to that later. USC and UCLA could have made a decision to preserve the college sports map for the greater good, but that would have been bad business, at least if the Los Angeles schools want to be in the business of competing for football national championships in the modern era. Once again, USC and UCLA made the same decision as Texas and Oklahoma did, to ensure themselves to be above the revenue stratification line in the modern college sports world, college football world. What is the Pac-12's best option? Conversations with 2 well-placed sources in the media industry, not authorized to speak publicly about negotiations, chalk up some of the Pac-12 struggles to strike gold as unfortunate timing. I would not call it unfortunate timing. I'll get back to that when we're done with the article. There are much bigger issues at play than the lack of buzz about Pac-12 football when you remove Lincoln Riley and the train of five-star quarterbacks he will bring to Los Angeles from the equation. For one, the country's greater economic situation has even the biggest spenders examining their margins a little more. In the media space, that's true too, with Disney telling ESPN that it has to be more selective than it's been in the past. The expanded college football playoff, for instance, is going to be up for grabs in the coming years. That content is going to be up for grabs. Getting a piece of the marquee events is paramount, and saving up for those just means there's less to offer for one Pac-12 after dark game per week. As one person said, the Pac-12 is a nice to have, not a must have. Fox can fill its Saturday late slot with Mountain West games on FS1 and not have to spend any extra on the Pac-12. Kliavkoff has said from the time he took over as commissioner, the Pac-12 would consider streaming platforms such as Apple TV and Amazon Prime Video, but streamers are losing hundreds of millions of dollars a year right now. Right now they're losing it and aren't going to overpay for the Pac-12. Even if Prime Video or Apple did come through with the favorable financials, either would lead to an extreme drop in exposure compared to the Pac-12 peers whose best games are all over the air. What good is a couple extra million per year if the recruits and fans aren't able to easily access your product? Well, they'll easily access the product if it's on Amazon and Apple TV, but the problem is the casual fans will not go to Amazon or Apple TV to watch football on a Saturday, and that's what the Pac-12 so desperately needs in this new media contract. There are no easy answers for Kliavkoff, which is why his schools have no choice but to keep an open mind about their future conference affiliation. In the short term, Kliavkoff has to make sure whatever financial offer he brings forward keeps the Pac-12's top football programs relevant, even if the money isn't what he or his predecessors, Larry Scott, promised. That means ESPN or Fox has to remain a partner. We talked about that last night on our live show. We talked about that on Saturday night's live show. ESPN has to remain a partner for Pac-12 even to have a chance to survive through this media contract negotiations that are going on right now. Will the Pac-12 expand? This is number 3. Will the Pac-12 expand? Reports have linked Pac-12 to San Diego State and Southern Methodist, SMU, as expansion candidates, and Kliavkoff gave the world confirmation of his interest in the latter by attending an SMU basketball game right out there in the open last month. Sure, the Aztecs would keep the league in Southern California, and the Mustangs would open up the Dallas market. But let's not act for a second like the Pac-12 presidents and athletic directors want to share a penny of whatever their distributions are with the fresh blood from the Mountain West and the American Athletic Conference. And we have described here, a peek around the corner, a way to grease the skids to make this happen. SMU, concessions. San Diego State, concessions to the Pac-12 schools. Give them most of your playoff distribution money for the next couple of years. Let that make those other schools whole. That can grease the skids for further expansion. San Diego State and SMU, are you listening? Are you listening? Back to the article. The only reason it would make sense to consider adding these schools if the Pac-12 is preparing for the possible departure of more schools. In that case, out of desperation, the league would have no choice but to strategically raid the group of 5. Number 4, how should Washington and Oregon feel? When USC and UCLA left for the Big Ten, many assumed Washington and Oregon would be next, forming a Western pod of sorts. But the Big Ten decided to stop at 16 teams with the Los Angeles schools. The Huskies and the Ducks could still end up in the Big Ten arc in the future, though there's incentive for them not to box themselves into anything too strict in the coming years. More consolidation of top brands is likely to occur. Brady McCollough, absolutely absolutely correct. We talked about it all the way back to episode 52 months ago. Oregon and Washington, they're not going to be signing anything. No Pac-12 media deal that keeps them locked in for years and years down the road. Back to the article. As long as they can still play on national TV, Washington and Oregon's best option is to stay in the Pac-12 and ride it out for a bit longer if they're not able to get this Big Ten invite here in the next couple weeks. Gunning for one of the automatic conference championship berths in the expanded 12-team playoffs. But the calculus could be different for Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. Number 5, how should the Four Corners schools feel? This is the last point of Brady McCollough's brilliant article this morning in the Los Angeles Times. How should the Four Corners school feel? The Four Corners schools, Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah, don't have to waste time thinking about the carrot of the Big Ten invite down the line. They could be enticed by the Big 12's newfound stability, which comes from the fact that the league members already have accepted they aren't likely to draw interest from the Power 2, the SEC, and the Big Ten at any point in the future. The Big 12 is as good as it gets, and they're all working to make it better. Arizona surely would be drawn by the Big 12's identity as one of the nation's top basketball conferences. They are the top basketball conference right now, today, especially now that it's without UCLA as its top historic rival in the Pac-12. It's hard to know which way the desert winds would blow for Arizona State. As you all know, at Peek Around the Corner, we've been saying it since day one. Arizona State will not move first. Arizona will, but Arizona State will follow closely behind Arizona if they should move to the Big 12. And lastly, Utah, given the strength of its football program, could see the benefit of staying in the Pac-12 and pushing for playoff berths in the short term, but it also might not risk being left behind given how hard it has worked to gain national respect. If Colorado has any buyer's remorse from its Big 12 defection, this could be the time to make it right again. Brady McCollough. Read the whole article. We'll provide in the link in the description box. Give it a read. Those were the 5 major points that he put out in the article. I just want to say one thing. I don't think it was unfortunate timing for the Pac-12 that they couldn't strike the deal. They had the chance. They could have taken a deal early on. They should have read the marketplace better. It wasn't just bad luck. It was bad decision making. We talked about it on October 30th, episode 83, when Brett Yormark struck the deal, got the deal done with Fox Sports and ESPN. Here at Peek Around the Corner, a bunch of nobodies said that Brett Yormark got the deal done and he should be celebrated. Big 12 just made a major move and the Pac-12 is in trouble. That's what we said. A lot of writers out in the West Coast, Pac-12 leadership did not agree, and look where they are today. So it wasn't just unfortunate timing. It was bad decision making. Now, I want you all to put your thoughts, your comments down in the comments section. Let me know what you agree with me on, disagree with me on. I read all the comments. I put out a tweet earlier today on Flag Empire, earlier this morning. The next 48 hours is huge. The Pac-12 presidents and the athletic directors are finally going to get a comprehensive deal, an offer laid out in front of them, probably more than one. A comprehensive deal for the first time. Here's what George Kliavkoff can offer, because the offers are not going to get any better down the road here in the next weeks and months ahead. So this is it. If the deal is good enough to where the Pac-12 presidents and the athletic directors can hash it out, work on it, they can get a deal done by April. The Pac-12 could possibly get a deal, a bandage, a bridge for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years, give themselves a chance to recalibrate themselves in the marketplace 3, 4, 5 years down the road. That can happen. It can still happen. But the numbers are being presented today, tomorrow. This is huge. But if it goes the other way, we're going to know about it. The leaks are going to come flying. if the offers are so substandard, even below lowered expectations among the Pac-12 presidents and the athletic directors, chaos is going to ensue. It may not officially be done. The implosion may not officially happen until after March Madness concludes. But the fire will start now, this week, and we're going to get the smoke here at Peek Around the Corner. So stay with us here. Stay with us. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, do so. We could be coming on at any moment with another live show, with another episode. So stay with us here during this Pac-12 saga. We are looking forward to covering spring football. We're going to be doing live watch parties of the spring football pro games across the country. So stay with us here at Peek Around the Corner. Until next time, and it could be real soon. Until next time. From all of us at Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please, you all take care of each other. Thank you so very much.